If there's anything that makes a successful business other than customer satisfaction, it's getting high quality leads. In this video, we'll be going over the best lead generation strategy that you must be using for your business. If you don't know me, my name is Tappa, and I've been running a highly profitable agency along with a few other businesses for the last few years. I've been able to do this by getting an influx of high quality leads into our pipeline. So if you want to do this too, then I suggest you stick around. Oh, and this works for pretty much any online business such as agencies, consultants, SaaS, coaches, e-commerce brands, and much more. This video is short and filled with golden nuggets, so please pay attention and write down some notes. So a common thing that I always see business owners doing is cash grabbing any opportunity that comes their way. If you don't know what cash grabbing is, it's what a business owner does whenever they're having a slow month and any unqualified leads comes their way. They find a way to sell the lead on anything just to get extra cash in their business. This is not a great long-term strategy because it takes focus away from your core strengths as a business and reduces your rate of growth. If this is you, or you feel like your business is not growing fast enough, then it's because you do not have a solid stream of qualified leads coming into your funnel. But don't worry, we'll fix this right now. So let's get into it. There are 4 main lead generation methods that you may know of or are utilizing, and that's the following. You have your outbound, paid ads, organic, and the 4th, which is the absolute best, I'll reveal later on. The real question is, what is the best lead generation strategy? To answer this question, we have to identify which lead source has the following: a high close rate, low cost, massive reach, longevity, and brand building. If you are able to hit these 5 key performance indicators, then you will have a sustainable lead source. So with that being said, let's get into the first lead generation strategy, outbound. So if you don't know what outbound lead generation is, it's basically when you contact a cold prospect through email, phone, or social channels such as Twitter. Cold meaning the prospect probably doesn't know who you are and is unlikely to respond. This sounds like a massive headache, and trust me, it is. However, it's actually a great lead source because if you can get your hands on a list of your ideal clients, then virtually every booked call you land can become a closed deal. The only question is price. Many business owners do not see success in their outbound lead generation efforts, and it usually comes down to 2 things. The first being the quality of the leads that you have, and the second being your offer. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this video is not about how to craft an irresistible offer, but if you need help, then check out the other videos on my channel. And of course, there are factors such as the message you use and your sales ability. However, you should focus on the priorities I mentioned first. When I was running my first offer, I used to send thousands of emails per month for years. Back then, cold email was not as saturated as it is today. So these days, if we're doing any cold outbound marketing, it's usually through Twitter. The reason for this is because Twitter is pretty undersaturated when it comes to selling through outbound methods. In fact, you'll see high open rates, high reply rates, and unless you're sending over 400 messages a day, you won't get blacklisted. On some of our best campaigns, we see reply rates of 60%, and on email, it's more like 3%. Before I move on, if you want a full course on how to do this with Twitter, then click the free course link in my description. Now, let's go over the KPIs for this outbound lead generation method. So you generally have a low close rate because you are chasing your customers. It doesn't cost much to get high quality leads and outreach to them. We're talking cents per lead. You won't have a massive reach because you can only send a limited amount of outreaches and book a limited amount of appointments per day. There is no longevity because as soon as you stop outreaches, you can't get additional leads other than client referrals. And lastly, this method does not build your brand's presence online. So we hit 1 out of 5 of our indicators, which is obviously not great. Let's move on to our second lead generation strategy, paid ads. All right, so paid ads is when you launch promotional posts on social platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or pretty much any other one. And that's paid, meaning you pay for the users on the platform to see the ad. And your ad will likely be seen by the wrong people at first, so you'll have to keep pushing ad spend into testing audiences and creatives. If this sounds like it's high risk, it's because it is. But if you land the right creatives and the right audience, you can literally print hundreds of leads every single day. The reason why people don't see success with this strategy is because they do not focus on their 2 main variables. The first being the creative, also known as the ad, and the second being their offer. Again, this video is not going to go in depth on this lead generation strategy. It's really about understanding why you should not jump into this strategy right away, but instead execute on our 4th lead generation strategy, which we'll get into soon. So I've spent millions of dollars on ads on multiple offers, so I may know a thing or two about this lead generation strategy, However, the time of blindly launching ads and hoping for sales is over, especially if you don't have too much capital to play with. These days, we have something called organic lead strategies, which we'll speak about in a moment. This method allows you to take the guessing out of the equation before even launching ads. So when you do eventually launch, you might be able to start making money right away, or at least lose less money to test your ads and offer. So let's go over the KPIs for the paid ads lead generation method. All right, so with paid ads, you generally have a high close rate because they are technically inbound leads, meaning the people that opt in are people that are wanting your service. Ads are getting more expensive every day, which means the cost per lead closed is much higher, and it's going to keep getting higher for the years to come. You also have a massive reach because you can market to anybody in the world as long as you can hit your ideal customer profile with proper messaging. There's not much longevity because similar to outbound marketing, once you stop spending, you generally stop getting leads, unless you combine this with our fourth lead generation strategy, so stick around for that. And lastly, yes, you are building your brand because when you're running paid ads, it's usually connected to one of your social profiles or even your email list. This gets you followers that may not buy from you today, but will buy from you in the future with a constant nurturing process. And later in this video, we'll go over what you need to do to make that happen. So for this method, we hit 3 out of 5 of our indicators, which is pretty good. However, our cost per lead closed is still high, which is a big problem when scaling. So let's move on to our third lead generation strategy, organic. To preface, other words for organic can be personal branding. Organic lead generation is when you post free content on social media to attract inbound leads. Examples of posts can be value bombs, successful case studies, or customer testimonials, like the ones you see on screen here. Many business owners struggle building an organic system because they either suck at writing captivating copy or they have a mental block such as imposter syndrome. Hey, it is what it is. If this sounds like you, then one of the best platforms to get started on is Twitter. Not only will you be able to practice your writing, but you don't have to put your face out there at all. We also put short form content on TikTok and Instagram, or long form content on YouTube, like the video you're watching right now. The question is, will you be one of my customers? We'll see. I've been building organic profiles for the last few years, including my own. We generate millions of views per month, and as a result, we have made millions of dollars for e-commerce brands, coaching offers, softwares, and all of our other offers. Another thing that not enough people talk about in this space is influencer privileges. So now that you have a strong social presence and following, you will be treated differently. You will be invited to private groups, networking events, and if you wanted to reach out to potential affiliate or joint venture partners, your chances on securing a deal with them are much higher since they probably already know and like you. So yes, this strategy is powerful. But what if we were to combine all of these strategies in one and create the ultimate lead generation system? Stick around if you want to see that happen. Before we move on, let's go over the KPIs with the organic lead generation method. With organic, you generally have a high close rate because the people that book a call or go to your site usually already know and like you, so the only question is price. The cost is low since you only need to pay for small expenses such as editing or softwares that will help you write or schedule your content. With the viral algorithms these days, we have massive reach. Some of my posts have gotten millions of views and hundreds of leads as a result. The only issue with that is you never know when your post will go viral. We also have longevity because your content consistently gets views because of SEO. And lastly, we have a massive brand building potential because our social media profiles will always store our past content and nurture our leads. An example of this is having a testimonials tab on your Instagram memories. Yes, 5 out of 5 of our KPIs are met. However, if we wanted to scale past $1 million per month with any business, will we be able to do it on just organic alone? Yes, it's possible, but it's very difficult. So this brings us to our final and my favorite lead generation strategy, which is our targeted inbound system, also known as TIS. So we already came to the conclusion that outbound or paid ads alone is not a great acquisition model because they do not satisfy all of our KPIs shown. But what if we combined all 3 methods? That's exactly what we do to scale our offers to hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. The only caveat is that you can't just launch all 3 and expect to have a highly successful lead generation source. We follow a very specific set of steps. Here they are. First, you must establish an online presence with the organic method first. Your objective here is to establish yourself as an authority in your space, build an audience, and grow your following. Now, something that people don't talk about enough is that you can do warm outreach on your profile, meaning for any followers you have, you can message them right away and start a conversation. There is a reason why people follow you, and they are likely in need of what you are providing. So the best thing to do is to nurture them as soon as they follow you and qualify them if they are a good fit for your product or service. This warm outbound strategy, by the way, is usually best when selling high ticket products, just because there's margin there. Now you can move on to the second step, which is basically stacking outbound lead generation to this. Since you already have an established profile and following, you will likely receive a high reply rate and get people on the phone much easier than if you had no social presence at all. For this, you can either hire a VA, or if you're on Twitter, then you should be using drippy.ai to automate this. Lastly, you can now add the third and final level, which is paid ads. Running paid ads from your already existing profile is pretty simple. All you really have to do is take some of your best posts, repost them with a strong call to action. In the future, I might make a whole video on paid ads, but that's a pretty good place to start. So as an example, let's say Zeta started to post organically on his Twitter account about how to get clients for his social media marketing agency. He built a following, and he's now getting a handful of inbound leads per day of other agencies that are trying to get clients for their businesses. He can now throw in cold outreaches, which doubles the amount of leads and booked calls he gets. Lastly, he decides to scale by putting some ad spend behind his most popular threads. It's pretty much that easy, and you can do it too. Now let's go over the KPIs for the targeted inbound system. So you probably guessed it, since all the KPIs hold true for the inbound method, you can probably guess that they hold true for this method as well. The one difference is that this method is much more scalable, because what you can do is now pump cash into cold outreaches and paid ads. So to summarize, this fourth lead generation strategy I am giving you is the exact strategy you should be using starting today. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and please share this video with any one of your friends that you think would find value from it. I would really appreciate it. Lastly, if you want my help to build a highly profitable lead generation system, then click that first link at the top of the description. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.